Futures are trying to assemble a day after that DeepSeek gut check and the Nasdaq's worst day in 6 weeks, but it is tentative so far as
What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen? Day traders, cloud swing traders. Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are feeling good. What's this notification? Why might my U.S. stock data look different? Does my does my U.S. stock look different than everybody else's? I don't know. That's what TradingView's telling me. But we got Alan in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Albert, Amy, Andy, Bill, Brad, Carolyn's in the house. Good morning to Cindy, DKD, Emily, Georgia. We're all traveling Georgia today. We got home laptop just signing in. That's AI taking over. Whew, I'm just kind of scared. We got Joe. Good morning to you. Justin. Good morning. Lauren, Lou. Lucian is in the house. Good morning to Marius, Martina, Renee. What's up, Renee? It's been a while. Good morning to Rob, Tim, Wendy, William in the house. All my people out of YouTube land. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Clarice was the first one. Mustafa Clarice was the first one today. Good morning to Clarice, Mustafa Leonard. We got Sanjay. Good morning to you. M Skies in the house. All my lurkers in the background. It's okay. I still love you. Hit that like and subscribe buttons. But whew, yeah. It was a weird day yesterday. Obviously, here's the good news about yesterday. The markets aren't dumping quite yet. So you had some of the leaders, aka the Nvidias of the world. You had Oracle giving back some of the news from the Trump press conference for 500 billion invested into the markets, but 75% of the spot was actually positive for the day, believe it or not. So if you're sitting there, I think Yates had a good post yesterday. He's like, if your accounts were down, if your holdings were down, you're probably a little tech heavy in in the markets right now because some big tech names got killed, and then you have something like Apple, just absolutely clobbering bullish. You had Meta closing at all-time highs, Amazon not too far away from it. So really, overall, not a bad day unless you sat there with the ticker NVIDIA or AMD and Oracle and a few others that AVGO I think got absolutely beat up. Lucian says, just FYI. Oh, hold on. Oh yeah, no, I don't know anything about that, Lucian. Uh, technically it's there, I guess. Rock is in the house. Good morning to you. So today we are gapping up a little bit. We do have a little bit of a retest gap. I'm not getting any of the lines I like on my chart, so let me just do a quick reload. TradingView has been acting a little strange for me this week. I'm not sure why. There we go. There's the setting I like. Maybe that was a warning from TradingView. But right in the middle, nothing too crazy. We got a little bit of resistance coming in somewhere around 601.40, 601.30. We were looking at a potential level on that one yesterday. If 598.64 broke, it did. It also closed above it. So for right now, above the 20, above the 50, above the 100, and above the 200, which is all the way back down still to like 560. Probably at this point looking for the gap fill, which might take a few days to get there. We do have some resistance, notable resistance all the way back up. And then we got this monstrosity from December we got to climb through as well. So all of this hard work, the last, not including yesterday, but the last 3 days before that, closing, getting us above all that resistance was all for naught. We had a dip down. And right now, we're still looking like the market wants to just be bullish no matter what. We'll see if we get some buying that comes in, at least some relief buying from the AMDs, NVIDIAs, AVGOs, Coinbase was getting a little clapped yesterday as well, so that might be on a move. Looks like crypto's up today too. But for right now, it is a retest gap. Maybe don't be the first one to buy. At least the SPY 601.21, let's go with, is the target for the immediate target. And then I think you got all the way up to 602.36. I think that will be a stronger one. This is right now, it is a island reversal on the SPY. So just making your way back up. Maybe some bulls want to relieve some of their positions before we get into that December resistance up at the top. But yeah, so 601.30, 601.36, somewhere in that zone should be, I think, a healthy resistance. We do have that one 601.21 before it. And it is a retest gap. So if all of this doesn't hold, GM just reported earnings too with a miss. So I don't know how that's going to weigh on the auto industry. Maybe that brings the market down a little bit, but you do have a retest. Look for support 598.53. Don't really want to see that getting taken out for the SPY. So a little bit of just hanging out in the markets, nothing too crazy. But there is a slight gap up. You got the Qs. Again, trying to rebound. You have a resistance right in front of you, 515.51. If we get past that, I've got another major one, 516.69. We did get through that yesterday. So we got through all of that yesterday. It is a little bit easier to get through it today again. We also got through 517.20 to the upside. The one we have not gotten through, so if we do want to recover in the tech sector, 518.72 would be a big one. After that, you got 522.45. Still inside day. Probably look for a little retest, maybe a little pullback at open. 513.99 is the support that I want to see hold. If we can hold that, stay above it, I like our chances for some kind of a potential bounce. Again, island reversal on Qs. Pretty big reversal ticker, but again, we talked about this in the mastery group. There's a certain point where you have these gap downs. This gap down sentiment, I think, is still there. Even the same thing for the SPY. If you did get trapped up here, you got skipped on all your stops. You're not feeling too great, but your thought process now is not how much money I can make, but how much little I could lose. And you already kind of have that losing kind of sentiment, but just trying to see if you could hang out. So I think this one, somewhere around 525, is going to be a major resistance. If I was to do Mr. Squiggles, I think you get there. If we want to eventually close this gap, I think something like that, or this, and then maybe we get a bigger pullback. Also, big numbers coming tomorrow from three of the big guys. So lots of earnings coming out tomorrow, plus Jerome Powell speaking. So set yourself up. Just be aware that that's out there. The market will be also setting itself up, and if that causes a little indecision today, I can see that. Just wait for some data to come out. So today, tomorrow, until Jerome Powell speaks, and then when you got the follow up with some earnings coming out. TLT, that one's gapping down a little bit today. Really good day yesterday. Nice gap up higher. So maybe as tech starts to climb back, if it does, maybe that puts a little more pressure on TLT to the downside. You do have a gap fill all the way to 87.18. But for right now, we're kind of opening right at support. Maybe this one, very close to inside day. Still, we might be a penny or two below yesterday's lows, but still at that support. I'd say we get an initial bounce on this one up to like 88.13, and then if this thing wants to eventually come in, try to close this gap, but still holding a really good, what was resistance, now support on TLT. Yep, I see a couple tickers coming in. If you guys got tickers, let me know, and we'll pull those charts up for you guys. But we got MSTR as the first one. For a quick fib on this one. It was, I don't know if this is to the penny, probably not. We did close above the 618. So you got to bounce roughly off the 78 retracement. You held the 618. For right now, it is inside day. What I do like on this one is you are at an interesting bounce spot for it. But then I have yesterday's VPOC and the 50 EMA sitting somewhere about this 339.37 zone. You have been putting in higher lows, which is good. You have been making the higher highs. Maybe an interesting spot to look for MSTR. I think you have a little bit of range on this one. First resistance, and again, we already got the close above this one. So we just have to fight back through it today. But 343.97. And then I think you got room all the way back to at least 358.92. So decent upside to this one if this support could hold. We might be able to get a good, and keep in mind, sentiment was actually bearish. This green candle isn't, I don't think the bulls rushing in to buy this thing, but you did close higher than the open. Bulls at some point did step in on this one, so there was a wick down here. Interesting spot for risk to reward. If this candle starts to break down 303.73, you probably had a little bit lower, but I wouldn't want to really see this 318.10, which that could have been the retest of that VPOC as well. I'd lean a little bit bullish today. Let's see, before we move on, let's see Bitcoin today. I do think crypto is up. Bitcoin, interesting looking hammer, great volume on this thing. You've been consolidating for a while. So here's my bullish case on this is my bullish case on crypto. We've got a nice little pennant pattern. This is not the candle you want to see, but the fact that the bulls came into this one pretty decent. We start getting back above this candle with that volume. This turns into a bear trap as opposed to a fundamental breakdown. So very interesting. Obviously, a lot of resistance on this one up here, somewhere in this probably 105 zone. We've talked about that a few times. So if we could get back into here, chop around a little bit longer, and then actually break, that could be a really good bear trap. For right now, we'll just wait and see until we know. Today's VPOC right now, at least, is also higher than even yesterday's opening price, which is pretty impressive to say the least. So, all right, that might be the case for MSTR. Let's take a look at Coinbase as well. So Coinbase had a little bit of a down day too. Also kind of breaking some decent consolidation to the side, sideways shopping trades. Retested a few. This one doesn't look as healthy, bullish wise. Again, I do think if you're breaking out of the high end of yesterday, you're looking at 290.11 for the break, and then maybe you're looking for a 306.06 retest, and then possible retesting all the way back to like 322. So kind of interesting spot, double top again. I mean, double bottom. You have this double bottom. This was a lower low. You have some higher highs. We need to get that next kind of higher low and then another higher high in there to really confirm that we're trending upwards from here. So I think coin might be a little bit more choppy. You're still opening right at, looks like right now, right below some kind of key support. So somewhere around this 270.20 zone. I want to recapture that before I go long on this trade. Otherwise, it does look a little bit weaker and a little bit more chop for Coinbase. We'll see if that plays into MSTR at all. All right, let's see. Coin just jumped off a cliff. Yeah, that's not good. Tesla. Get some of these lines out of here. Tesla have been very weird lately. And again, earnings on Tesla is on Wednesday after the bell. Inside day. Wouldn't be shocked at all if we're sitting right around the zone for earnings, right around this 395. It's been a really good support resistance. We've played both sides of this one yesterday. So we were getting well below it. Looked like we were probably coming in for the retest. Bulls got their act together, brought this thing right back up, and closed above that resistance. I do like this close above resistance, so that's not bad. I would probably have to lean a little bit bullish on Tesla for today. We did come in for the retest. This is still inside day, so I probably wouldn't be shooting for the moon. Look for like a 1.2. But if you're as long as we can stay above this 393.80 zone, so maybe small little pullback into yesterday's VPOC. We'll see how it handles that. 395.94, essentially 396 zone. If we can stay above that, I like the chances that we get this bounce. Actually, it was a pretty nice close on Tesla yesterday. A little bit of a trap to the bears. But again, that all could change. We've been able to fluctuate past this zone wildly in both directions, and then the other side just steps right back in. So this might be the zone that we're probably going to hold So I think at 1.2 trade on that one would be fantastic. And I would lean a little bit more to the bull side on that one, RTX. And again, Tesla was down, but it wasn't really affected by DeepSeek news. So I think unrightfully so. RTX was this earnings? It is earnings. So we have earnings at 15-cent beat, so 11.45% over earnings per share, and they came in with a smooth 1.08 billion, surprise to the high side on revenue. This is now gapped into all-time highs. These are the ones that get tricky for me. Uh, yeah, you have a red candle that would be a gap and go from yesterday, but all of this momentum into it, all the buying into it, there's definitely some people profitable. In fact, every single bull ever is profitable in this one. I've got no targets to the higher side, so we'll have to watch the price action. I would think that I don't know that I want to go bullish on this one. Doesn't mean I have to go bearish, but at the same time, probably probably the retrace is where I would prefer to be sitting on this one. So let's see if it gets a little maybe high wave candle, something out of the gate that we could play and see if this one wants to pull back. But really, really good gap. Maybe we could get the fade on this one. But I've also seen it, especially recently, where those things just hit all-time highs and just continue higher because nobody wants to sell anything. We got AVGO. So this one obviously down. This would be down off of DeepSeek. Big, massive move. I think we were down roughly, what, 20% yesterday? 17%? 20% at one point. So maybe a little bit oversold. This could be a dead cat bounce. Again, still inside day. I would see if you get some pressure to for some of those bulls who just said, you know what, this thing is down. Let's take a shot that this could gap open or gap higher. They're getting their wish. They might be a little profitable. So if you just bought something because it was down 20%, you might want to lock some gains right around 50% retracement of the candle yesterday. I think this one probably gets a pullback at open, but I'd be looking for like a 202.60 zone, 202.40 zone, somewhere in there. That should be where support comes in. That's where I would get a really good risk reward in this play if this works. So if I was to go bullish here somewhere, in fact, we'll put a little alert on this one. And then if we start bringing the low of yesterday, I think that's where we just want to be out. Unfortunately, this stop is right before that 100 on the daily. But even for a swing trade, if this is an overreaction, you also have island reversal on this one as well. Not to the same extent. You did kind of come in here. SPY and Q is a little bit more dominant of the island reversal, but still kind of there. Even if this is our uptrends. If this was the trend we were going to try to hold in a bullish direction, it would probably look something like this if this thing fades down. So I like it there. Let's throw a little alert on it. See if this one wants to pull back and open. Again, I don't want to buy it here because your resistance for this is going to sit somewhere around 213.90 and then probably back to like 218. So there's some room to the higher side, but get me in there as low as possible. We're going to take the stab. You are below the 50, below the 20, and we're just smush between the 50 and the 100 at this point. Let's see if we get an alert. Go. This alert might go off. Let's go 203 so we can kind of watch it from there. 202.98. So we'll see if this one wants to pull down. I think this alert might pop off as soon as the bell rings because you're gapping above it, but we'll see. NVIDIA we looked at. Did we look at NVIDIA? I don't think so. NVIDIA looks pretty close to. I did think this was an oversell yesterday. But it looks pretty close to AVGO. So you're gapping up. You're about 50% way through the candle. Pre-market, you have a little pressure somewhere around 122 zone, which makes sense. Good location for, again, bears if they like this thing short to start hopping in. Not a great close yesterday whatsoever, below the 200. You have the highest volume point right at the lowest point of that candle. So let's see if we could pull back a little bit more. Let's see if we get some selling. I would love to get 118.49. The only problem with me getting that price is now I'm below that 200. So maybe if you want to get a sudden alert, see what happens around 120, 119.92, somewhere around that 200 EMA. The fact that we're gapping above it is phenomenal. And then you're looking for probably eventually some kind of move, maybe higher to 132.37. But damaging gap, usually these type of gaps, this is NVIDIA, so who the heck knows? People, but I could assure you there's a lot of eyeballs on NVIDIA watching to see if this thing maybe could come a little bit lower because I think the sentiment is how do I get in, not so much of NVIDIA's done and they're not going to do anything ever again. So earnings on this one comes out February 26th. So you got about a month on this until earnings come out. But really nice move. I would even take a high wave candle, something like this. Try to attempt to play this thing bullish. But 50% of the retracement would love to get this thing a little bit lower, somewhere around 120 if we could. All right, let's see. We got a few others up here. We got Palantir, Oracle, PLTR. SoundHound was also moving this morning too. So we'll pull that one up next since it's close enough to Palantir. Same sentiment at least. I don't know when I set this chart up. At one point we were talking. Oh, probably in the Masters group. Yep, so we got 74.96 is where I threw that line. We got the close above it. Just for right now, kind of hanging out inside day two. Look for support on this one somewhere around 74. I'm wondering if this move is still valid. This setup, we might have set this one up yesterday. All right, so anybody in the master group, this would still be a valid setup. We just have to break through support 74.31, and then you got earnings on this one though, February 3rd. So not much time for this one to play out. But again, inside day, if you're going to try to go long, try to come in a little bit lower, 74.31. Or if you're trying to go short, probably the closest you get to like 75.38, but know that there's going to be some kind of support, 74.36. So until this thing actually breaks down, but this is a gap and go. This is a good reversal candle. Perfect retest from up here. That retest was phenomenal. That would have been a much better spot to enter, but there could still be some room if this head and shoulders does play out, which will take some time to see if we get probably back down to the 60-ish realistically. We got Palantir, Oracle. Let's take a look at Oracle, ORCL. I forgot I was going to look at sound. Boeing with a nice pop. Let's check that one out as well. Oracle, we have look, this is probably about a little bit higher. So the rest of them were kind of in that 50%. This probably, if just eyeballing this thing, looks roughly about the 618. I would imagine there's probably some people taking some profits. Again, just absolutely getting murdered yesterday. You went from even at the close of Friday, 183.87, all the way down to 153. So if you're a coupon cutter, that was a $30 discount on Oracle. So even just taking the stab close to that 200 might give you an opportunity to buy. And then I think there's probably some buy the dippers profitable on this gap, and I think this one probably fades as well at open. This one I think might be able to get back to like this 156.46. What did I say? 157? Yeah, 157.46. So we'll keep that one a little bit higher on the list as well. See how that one wants to play out. Let's check out Boeing, and then we'll go to sound. Yeah, really good gap on that one. Is there news? Oh, good. Was this earnings? Yeah. So earnings, it came in with an 82% miss on almost 83% miss on earnings per share. And then they were off by about $402 million. That's more of a reason to buy. The only thing that could be stronger for Boeing is that they just declared bankruptcy. Then this thing goes to the moon. For sure. Watch this 185 zone. So yeah, probably anything start getting above 185. There's not much holding you back all the way up to like 203. But a little bit of a double top that should have been or could have been a lower high, and we're starting to break through. I still think at open you get a little bit of a pullback. So watch for 180.75. That's the first spot I'd be interested in kind of going bullish on this one. If that starts to break, you might as well just wait 178.39. But yeah, pretty. I guess the fact that he had any revenue is a positive, and people are starting to like it. Boeing gave plans to restructure. Those Those better be some really detailed plans. They should just lay out a blueprint of how they should build their planes, and then we could judge if that thing's actually going to stay in the air. If it does, then I like it. Take a look at sound, SOUN, pipe bolts. Yeah, maybe stop using crazy glue to build and assemble planes. If we start with that, that would look decent. I think SoundHound came out with a $500 million offering today, share offering. 250 million stock sale plans. Got you. So a little bit of weakness here. I do think there will be a time to buy. I don't know. Usually on the news of either offerings or selling shares, you usually get some weakness. You have a little bit of support. So if we could open anywhere about 1366 or higher, I would look for probably a retest on this one up to 1450, 1415. Otherwise, look for the next support on this one. If this thing opens and drops down to like 1325 with room to like 1286, 1262. This one is on my list for some put selling. Once it was down here prior, I've already sold some puts. I'm out of those things already. If this one comes down, and I probably almost want to see a new lower low, but this 1325 is a really good support. So that might be one to consider if you are a put seller, try to make some money on selling some contracts. This one is pretty volatile. Again, not usually the most. The stock doesn't usually like it when you put out offerings and try to raise money. I think they said they were trying to raise the money to compete with the DeepSeek, so they're, I mean, quick to action, I guess. But we'll see. SMCI, is that one moving today? That was not the greatest close that we had yesterday. That close would imply probably a little bit more room to the downside. You kind of hung out there with a double bottom. You actually came in, really good retest. That all got rejected. For today, it is technically a gap and go, but inside day with resistance right around 29.49. So watch that zone like a hawk. If you're going to try this thing bullish, I would want that to get rejected. Come on down to like this $29 zone. But I really wouldn't be surprised if this one had one little support from back here. Looks like we held that. Next little support is right here, which we didn't quite get to. We almost got down to like this 28.25 zone. Wide open gap still to like 21.88. So this one could have some more room to the downside. Again, what will change this one? Number one, I guess the earnings, which comes out on the 4th. And really, we just have to hear from the accounting. We have to still figure out if this entire company is going to be relying on, are those books clean, or is there something we should actually worry about? If we get, regardless of, I think even what the earnings are, if we hear that those books are pretty on point, I think you get the rally. If the accounting firm that they just got in there comes out and says, no, there's issues, this thing will get dropped like a rock. So I think we're all contingent on that one. In terms of just technicals, that's not a great close yesterday. We probably will have some more room to the downside on this one. DELL. But for right now, it is chilling. Just kind of hanging out. Dell. Not Adele like the singer, just Dell. Hello from the other side. 102.61 was decent support. We got to that. We even got into this one. Again, kind of a fundamental breakdown. You had this retest. We didn't quite retest yet. Lots and lots of volume. I would say if this one starts to break yesterday's high, that might give you a shot up to like. But for right now, you are at a little bit of support, so make your decision here if you think this could rally. There was some bulls kind of coming into this thing. Otherwise, I can't believe that's the bell already. I feel like I didn't get to like half the stocks today. That's wild. So many today. So everybody on YouTube land, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Otherwise, tomorrow's a big day, only after the market. So we got another today and tomorrow to figure out how to play it. But you guys are incredible.